And in prison, a lot of times it's those guys that get their manhood taken. You know, I mean, the stuff does happen, but a lot of times it's those guys that it happens to because they come in all super rah, that they're all this, they're big, they're bad. Somebody's going to come and check their temperature. That's guaranteed. Somebody's going to find out if they're really about that life. For those of you that do not know me or my story, I did 18 combined total years in prison. I did 5, got out for 4, went back for 13, and I've now been out for running up on 7 years. I'm also from a hood in California. I am from Fresno, California, and my prime gang banging years were during 92, 93, 94, which is when the gang wars out there were at their height. There's still a lot of stuff going on out there, but you know, that was the height of it. And that was when I was in the middle of it. So I actually come from the streets and I actually did a lot of time in prison. In prison, I was also what is called a mainliner, which means that I never PC'd up. I never paid rent. I never checked in. I never did any of those things. There are no secrets in prison, guys. There's none. Something happens to someone, somebody does something, everyone knows. There's no secrets in prison. So I've never done any of those things, and anybody that would like to try to pull my yard card, I can tell you exactly who you can contact in the system, and they'll still speak on my behalf. I've never been a super raw type dude, which means I'm not the kind of person that just walks in and just says, oh, I'm the biggest and baddest. I'm just not that kind of person. Never have been. That being said, do those kinds of people exist? So I specifically bring this up because a lot of the people, not a lot, the people that I'm around on my day-to-day basis now do not have my life experiences. My life experiences are very unique to them. I am moving in a very specific trajectory and I'm trying to get somewhere very specific. And so I surround myself on a day-to-day basis with people who can move with me to accomplish this dream. Do I still have people in that are friends and stuff like that from my old lifestyle? Yes, absolutely. We're just not around each other very often. We might meet each other every once in a blue moon, but for the most part, I'm just not involved in. We're all doing something different. They're all like me. They're retired. They're all trying to achieve whatever dreams they're capable of. But I'm just in my lane worrying about my stuff. Still have relationships with those people. I'm just not consistently around them. So the people that are around me on a day-to-day basis ask me questions all the time. So they'll bring me content to see, or they'll ask me about a song. They'll listen to a rap song or something like that. They'll ask me about it. They'll watch a movie. They'll ask me about the movie. So it can be anything from American Me, Blood Out, on the Mexican side. It can be Friday or A Menace to Society. It can be, there's any number of things. I've gotten all kinds of people to ask me questions about stuff like that for movies, like I said, rap songs, and a lot of content. So for content wise, more than anything else, the people that ask me they're like, people like Wes Watson, who I've only seen a couple of clips of his. Even in my book, yes, he is a clown, just to get that out of the way right away. But Wes Watson, do people really act like that and stuff like that? Even, oh my God, somebody brought me, what was his name? The King, Azuli, something Azuli, and Ali Sob or something like that. These two dudes sitting down and being all like, when they were like holding each other's hands. We'll call it that instead of shaking hands or whatever. But the whole theatrics that were around those two individuals and how they do their content. And believe it or not, people ask me even questions about Fresh and Fit. And I have content from back in the day. It's no longer on our channel, but nothing disappears from the internet, I guess. I've never liked Fresh and Fit. And there's a number of reasons why. So the reason why I'm doing this is because people are constantly asking, one of the things that basically what it boils down to is, are alpha males real? And it is an observable fact that alpha males, they exist. Now, you can argue about the language. You can argue about the metrics. There's a lot of things that you can attempt to argue about what you want to say in the term of, with the term alpha male. Oh, that's been disproven, blah, 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 blah. But the truth is this is an observable fact. It doesn't matter if you're looking at a group of friends, a gang, the military, a corporation. It doesn't matter. There's one person that sits at the top. They call all the shots, and then there's a hierarchy that goes all the way down through the spine of whatever the group it is, and everybody has their different parts to play. And it's even with friend groups. It's not even just like the CEO or the general or the captain or anything like that. You can even see it in friend groups. There's one friend there's almost always one friend who's at the top of the food chain in their friend group, and it can be male and female. And so anything that they say, and oftentimes for the males, it'll be a guy that is a lot more masculine of the group, or he's just more talented in whatever endeavor that they're looking for. So like, the best dancer, the best skater, whatever. And then in women, obviously, it's usually the one that's the prettiest, but sometimes it can be the one that's the bitchiest or the most domineering. But even in friend groups, it doesn't matter. There's always one person who's at the top of the hierarchy and everybody else just plays their part. So this is an observable fact. There is no argument. You can argue the language and the metrics all you want, but we do know this is an observable fact. Now, in prison and in the streets, do people act like Wes Watson and Zuli and Ali? Yeah, some people do, but the overwhelming majority of them fools, they get their card pulled pretty quick. It's those kinds of individual usually get their card pulled pretty quick. The overwhelming majority of them end up getting hurt pretty fast. You going into a place where it's nothing but predators. So whether you're going into the streets or you're going into somebody's hood or something like that, or you're going into prison and you're surrounded by predators. So when you're trying to act like that, you have a group of predators. Somebody's going to come and check their temperature. All three of them dudes that I mentioned, and anybody that acts like them, all three of them dudes, they're going to get their temperature checked. Now, my assumption for Wes Watson is because somebody did play, I at least saw I think I saw the whole clip where he said that UFC fighters, MMA fighters, I think, are pussies. All of us that are both from the streets and prison, we all know that when somebody comes through that area who has a few years of training, just a few years of training, not somebody who's at the higher end of the skill set, just somebody that has a few years of training, they already have a serious advantage over the average individual in those areas. So one guy can come through the system who has a few years of boxing. He could have an 0-17 record in the ring, but when he's fighting a bunch of other people that have no training whatsoever, he has an unfair advantage compared to the overwhelming majority of them. Now, is he guaranteed to win every fight? No. I have a homeboy, Peanut, a skinny brother. He's a skinny brother. And he's like 60-0 in prison. And I mean, big dudes, 2 or 3 at a time. He's a skinny bro. And he just be mopping fools. Now, that's one guy who, I don't know what his record may have ever been, but his training, he was actually legitimately good. He was from a very specific gang. He was the only person from his gang in every facility that I was with him in, and that dude backed down from nobody and caused all kinds of drama, and just mopped up everybody that they put in front of him. He mopped them all. Didn't matter the size, didn't matter anything like that. But there's also plenty of other guys who have boxing or MMA skills or jiu-jitsu skills, and somebody comes along and does mop them. That just also happens. It is not a guarantee that they're going to win. There's a lot of people that still have fighting skills, like just fighting, and not even like fighting. Fighting in a prison cell is an art. There are people that know how to use the environment in a cell to their advantage. I've done it a number of times, but I know there's people that they develop, this is what they do. They develop systems on how to fight somebody in a prison cell. There's one of them, and it's a really good one. Somebody comes in from the front, and if you have a desk behind you or the wall behind you, and you get so close to it, and somebody comes in, and they're blocking off the door, man, you just drop down real low, and you grab their clothes. Not them, but grab their clothes by their waist and just yank them and pull them over you so they hit the wall real hard or so they hit that desk real hard. That's just an example. Now, that sounds foolish, but you'd be surprised how effective it is for somebody who's especially not ready or understanding that it's going to happen. They're thinking a punch is going to be thrown, anything else is going to happen. They don't expect to be grabbed by their clothes, yanked forward over the dude, not over his shoulder, but just like where you fall. That's something that you're not expecting. You'd be surprised how effective it is. That's just an example, right? So it's not a guaranteed. But for someone like him to say that UFC or MMA fighters or whatever are all pussies, all because they don't know what it's like to fight for your life. Now, I've been in a position to where I've had to fight for my life. I was in a fight once that I was losing, and I knew for a fact that if I lost the fight, if I ever woke up, I was going to wake up in the ICU. There was no doubt in my mind. And yes, I did have to reach down into the depths of my soul and squeeze every drop that my soul had to come out as the victor in that fight. That is true. However, a lot of those guys are put themselves in positions to where they learn how to do all that stuff too. And it doesn't matter, even if they don't have that last little bit, the fact that they have the advantage that they have, like I said, puts them at an unfair advantage. So for someone like him to say something like that, that leads me to believe that most likely he's not been in very many fights. My assumption is because of his over aggressive attitude and his physical size, whether he's actually 6 foot, 5'6", doesn't matter. Whatever his height is, his aggressive nature and his musculature would allow him to back down the average man on a continuous basis. Now, the truth is though, is all three of those dudes and anybody that acts like them, most people that have the ability to truly impose violence runs up on those dudes will fold like a house of cards. Almost without doubt, they will fold like a house of cards. And in prison, a lot of times it's those guys that get their manhood taken. You know, I mean, the stuff does happen, but a lot of times it's those guys that it happens to because they come in all super rah, that they're all this, they're big, they're bad. Somebody's going to come and check their temperature. That's guaranteed. Somebody's going to find out if they're really about that life. If Wes Watson, the Zuli, or other dude came into the system that I've been in, acting like that, somebody is going to come and check and see if it's true. They want to know. And some dudes, man, that's their thing. They take the manhood of people that act like that. There's a guy in the Colorado penitentiary system. His name is Marvin Gray. You can look this guy up. He is the boogeyman of all boogeymen in the Colorado DOC system. This dude, his thing was, he would take somebody from his own race, he would build them up until they were one of the strongest people in the system. They would be pound for pound one of the strongest in the entire system, not even just in the facility, in the whole system. And then that's when he would attack them and take their manhood. Bro, that's like other people, real live murderers and killers, real tough and killing motherfuckers, called that dude the devil. So out of all the boogeymen that were in the system, this man is singularly stands above and beyond all the rest of them. And he wasn't like that. He was, man, that dude was calm. He was usually calm. Like he talked shit and stuff like that, but he wasn't, I've never met a person that had a story where he acted like Wes Watson. And this dude was considered the devil by everybody else. So those dudes don't really exist on that level. There are some that come through that are super rah. That does happen. It's rare, but there are some dudes that come through that are super rah, and they're really about that life. That's just, they're natural. That's just who they are. That's just their temperament. But the overwhelming majority of people, that's a front. They're trying to utilize that persona to keep people at bay and to keep them off balance, and so that they can intimidate the people that are in front of them so that they can move through without having to actually engage in the violence that's necessary. So in my book, as somebody who comes from a real hood, went through real gangbanging scenarios, somebody who went to prison, was on the main line, I went through riots, I went through gang wars, I went through all that stuff. Those dudes right there, those three examples that I just gave you, and anybody that acts like them are not going to be real people. They're just not. Now, for fresh and fit, the problem is people look at these guys as alpha males because they're dunking on women. Right? So if you want to watch a show that's just entertaining, that dunks on women, makes women look stupid, all of this stuff, or if they, get halfway correct information on investing and stuff like that, yeah, this show is going to be fine. If that's what you're into, then it's fine. But if you're not a guy who's just completely jaded about women, like me, I'm not completely jaded about women. And trust me, I've been through some shit. And I'm still not completely jaded because my life isn't that miserable. You can recognize, obviously, the fat dude, Fresh. He doesn't really contribute much. And I did see the clip. Somebody showed me the clip where he said that he slept with over 1,000 men. Guys, I'm going to put it to you simple like this. 1,000 is an unbelievable number for almost anyone. 1,000 is a lot. 1,000 is a lot, guys. It is a lot. That is a ton. 100 is a lot. I don't think that people understand like how many 100 is. If your life isn't built into a situation where women are just constantly coming to you, the odds of you ever reaching 100 alone is really, 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 really small. So, and when I was a womanizer, bro, that's how my life was set up. We had money. We were, quote unquote, we were well known. I wouldn't say famous, but we were famous in our own way, in our own environment, in our, little culture. We were well known. We all had money. So women were just constantly coming to us. That makes it easier to get to a higher number. But guys, most men will never get past like 20, maybe 30. Most men who are successful womanizers are not going to get past like the number 30. 30 is actually a lot. It's really a lot. The guys that are getting up into like 50s and stuff like that, these dudes like are putting in a lot of work to either chase these women down or they're in a position to where the women are just coming to them. 100 is a lot. 1,000 is too unbelievable. He's not in the 1,000 club. He's just not. Even if he's been paying for it for the last all these years, which is without doubt guaranteed what he's doing. When you get money, everybody does it. Everybody does it. You'll fly some chicks out. You don't care. You got money. And you don't have to chase a chick. So what's the difference? And she's bad. So you end up flying them out. This happens. Guys get money. And this is some of the stuff. Men, as soon as you get money, it doesn't matter what kind of man you are. You spend money on dumb shit, right? So it doesn't matter if you want, I don't care if you collect Star Wars collectibles, or Jordans or jewelry or cars, or women. It doesn't matter. We all spend money on the dumbest of shit. So a lot of guys, when they get money, one of the things you spend money on is women. That's just what it is, right? So I don't even fault them for that, other than the fact that they say that they don't do it when we know that they do. He's been exposed because of the girl that he got pregnant. Myron was on sugardaddy.com. The recent thing just now with, I guess, his girl that he was with for years. They never even had sex. He was paying for everything. All this stuff, right? Anytime you put your reputation on the line where you are relying on women as being a part of your reputation, bro, you're gonna fail. Because women will love, and they will love you through any and everything until the day that they don't. And women are masters at character assassination. They do it to each other all the time. They do it to each other all the time. They are masters at it. And I promise you, I've been the victim of it a few times in my life as well. As soon as they are no longer as in love with you the way that they once were, and they're angry about it, they are going to do whatever they can to assassinate your character. Plain and simple. So anytime, so that's why now that girl that Myron was with is coming out and just spilling all the beans, right? Because she's done with them, so she don't care. So now assassinating his character and ruining his brand, that don't mean anything to her. But not only that, on their show, man, the stuff that Myron uses, who is not a dumb guy. Myron is a smart guy. But he's basically just using gaslighting techniques, narcissistic techniques, argumentative techniques. I did a show on this a long time ago when I first started this channel, where I detailed like some of the stuff that they're using. I had to go through a very intensive therapeutic program a long time ago where they taught us how to see all these things and what all the terminologies were. I haven't put that much time in it since then, but that's basically what he's using in order to dunk on these women. If you're not that jaded though, like, I mean, for me, it's not that, I'm not like, ooh, because I'm not that jaded over women. So my life isn't that miserable. So does alpha males exist? Do alpha males exist? Yes, absolutely. I know a lot of the guys that would be in the position of alpha male. These are the guys that we call key holders in prison. They're the guys that run the car. They're the gang leaders. Those dudes are usually pretty calm. They're very rarely not calm. The real killers, the guys that everybody knows are killers, those dudes are usually really calm. They're not usually these loud, rah dudes until a boundary has been violated. That's when they act like that. And even then, most of them are still really calm because they don't want anybody to stop it. So what we call like somebody being like Wes Watson in a situation that's blowing up, we call that yelling for help because he's making so much noise that everybody knows about it. So somebody's going to either tell or the cops are going to get involved. Something's going to happen that's probably going to stop it from happening. So we call that yelling for help. Individuals that are really about that shit, they ain't going to do none of that. They're just going to be like, oh no, I'm going to see you. I'll be over there just like that. Or they ain't going to say nothing. And then the next time you see that fool, he's hitting that dude in the head with something heavy and sharp, poking him in the and poking him a few times with something metal and sharp, or or they're just going at it with hands or whatever. The most of the time when people are either knockout artists, real killers, or key holders, gang leaders and stuff like that, they don't ever say it. They never really say it. Everybody just knows this about them. So a knockout artist doesn't come on the yard and be like, I'm a fucking knockout artist. They don't say none of that. When a knockout artist gets to the yard and people don't know him, everybody else that does know him and knows what he does, they say it in for him. Nah, that dude's a knockout artist, man. You better watch out. Man, Ice One, shout out to Ice One. If anybody knows who that boy is. Ice does not look like his reputation. He doesn't. I know him. I've only known him for a short period of time. In the short period of time that I knew this man at 2 different facilities, this man put hands on a number of fools. And he was a knockout artist. And that he never once said anything. He never once said anything. He was never loud. He just came and handled his business. And I even would tell fools, I'd be like, listen, you better leave that boy alone. Better leave him alone, man. He's gonna hit you twice. Once to knock you out, once to wake you up. And that's exactly what he would do. He'd hit somebody, knock them out. When they hit the ground, he'd hit them again to wake them up. He'd pick them up and like put them on their bunk and then like give them a talking to or straighten out whatever the problem was. But everybody else spoke on his behalf. He never once said he was a knockout artist. People that are real known killers, people that really, really put it down like that, they never have to say, oh, I'm a killer. Everybody else would be like, yo, that dude's got bodies. That dude's got blood on his hands. Everybody else says it. He don't have to say that. And people that are real key holders and stuff like that, everybody just knows who they are. They don't got to ever walk around and be like, oh, I run this car. They don't ever say stuff like that. They don't ever say stuff like that. The ones that do get put in that position and it does go to their head, they usually get dethroned real quick by their own people. That's another story. Do alpha males exist? Yes, they do. This is an observable fact. There are always leaders. Do they often act like Azuli, Wes Watson, Ali, or anybody like that? No, they do not. Are people like fresh and fit alpha males? No, they are not. These people are not real. The people that usually sit in those categories, people that usually sit in those positions, they're actually pretty quiet for the most part. They don't have to say anything because their actions speak for themselves and everybody else will speak on their behalf. And that is just the truth. So I just wanted to cover that real fast, just to get that out of the way. I do think I finally have an understanding of where I'm going to go for this channel. It's taken me 2 years to get to 1,000 subscribers. There are a few reasons why, but one of them was I didn't understand exactly what I wanted to do with this channel. I was just making content. And I've come to realize that if anything, I am probably what's going to be called an anti-influencer. I don't know if that's a term or not already, but that's definitely the term I'm going to give myself. I'm an anti-influencer. I can recognize the bullshit that all of these people are putting. Anybody has a course for you to buy, you should not be buying, do not buy a course from anybody. Anybody who's trying to sell you life coaching skills or calls or dating coaching calls, do not be paying for that. You're basically paying for those people to be your friend. Don't do that. You don't need any of that stuff. Anybody who's trying to give you some business coaching, if they don't have a real serious like 20-year history of success behind them with people that are well known themselves in those industries that can speak on their behalf, you should not be buying their coaching. YouTube is a land of lies. This is a land of lies and hate. That's what YouTube is. Social media is a land of lies and hate. I don't care for any of it or any of these people. I am now going to be my terminology for it is the anti-influencer, and fuck all of these people. Do not believe anything or anyone you see on the internet. Everybody has something in their past. Everybody. Sadia Khan just got exposed, which I'm all for it, to be honest. She told that chick, she said she'll suck her man's dick on her wedding day. I'm like, as a side chick, I would sign on. She's bad, she's paid, and she don't care. She's willing to suck your dick on your wedding day? Nah, that's the side piece that you want. Everybody else is saying she's exposed. I'm like, nah, she said what she said. She said that high value men will have women that are willing to do whatever they have to do in order to be with that man, including levels of cooperation. If that dude's chick and Sadia Khan both know each other and are arguing about each other, they'll still working in cooperation with each other. They're still doing it. She's still getting married to that dude and she's still gonna suck his dick on their wedding day. So it is what it is. But everybody has stuff in their past, and that's the thing. Everybody on the internet is celebrating each other's downfall, or they're talking bad about one thing or another person or something like that, but nobody's actually offering anything of creative value in return. They're not creating something. They're just creating content. Content is not creation. I hate to break it to you. That's just content. It's either, most of it's hate and some of it's entertainment. That's it. You should not be paying anybody for anything that does not offer you an actual tangible reward in return. That's the only time you should be paying for anything. So I'm going to sign off with this right here, right now. You guys are going to be seeing a lot more of me. I have a better understanding of what I'm about to do with my life and with this channel. Here we come, guys.